Okay, hopefully you're starting to get a hang of it. This is where this one will be a little bit more complicated. We're going to still start off the same way. So write how many of each element we have on both sides. So over here we have 2 n's. Over here we only have 1 n. Remember, it's an imaginary 1 after the n. And then we have 2 h's, and then we have 3 h's. Okay, what I will tell you is that I think that it usually, and not all the time, sometimes balancing equations can be a little bit tricky, but I think a good place to start is to always start with the one that has the highest number. So when we're trying to figure out how to balance this equation, I'm not going to start with n, I'm going to start with h, because h has a higher number, which is 3. It's got the highest number of all the ones we're looking at. So if I want to balance h, what I'll look and see is that I have 3 h's over here and I only have 2 h's over here. And so again, I'm not going to add a coefficient to this side, because if I place a coefficient over, scratch that, I'm not going to place a coefficient on this side, because if I place a coefficient over here, it's just going to make this number bigger, and it's going to make this number not change at all, right? And that's what I've been saying to do. However, when you look at this though, if I go to place a coefficient over here, any coefficient that I put over here is not going to allow it to equal 3, right? 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. So if I make that 4, then they're still not equal. So what I do is that if they can't go, if there's not something that I can multiply this number by, a whole number, to get this number, is what I'll do is I'll multiply these two numbers by each other. And then I'll place coefficients in front of both of them to make them equal that number. So 2 times 3 is 6. So what I'm going to try to do is make my h's be 6 over here and make my h's be 6 over here. So what times 2 gives me 6? Well, that's 3. So 3 times 2 is 6. So now I have 6 h's over here. Over here, if I want my h's to be 6, I have to figure out what times 3 equals 6, which would be 2. So I'm going to place the 2 right there. So 2 times 3 is 6, right? So now that gives me 6 for my h's. However, I can't forget that this 2 not only goes to h, but it also goes to n. So 2 times 1 is 2, which look what that did. That went ahead and balanced the rest of the equation for us, because I needed to have 2 n's anyways. So now I can just place a 1 right here, or I can leave it blank and assume the imaginary 1, whatever you want to do. But that's why I would encourage you to start off with the bigger number first, because sometimes that'll fix some of the other ones for you. And again, if you can't evenly multiply it by a whole number to give you what's on the other side, you want to multiply the two numbers by each other and then make them equal that by placing the correct coefficients in front.